out of the countryside back onto the property of the Automobile Club of the West, who own this circuit and the rights to the race. The clock is ready. There's a look at our post-time weather conditions. A beautiful day for the start of the 77th Le Mans. With that, I will step away and leave you in the hands of our Le Mans Series expert, Lee Diffie. Take it away. We'll see you later today, folks.
As always, 55 cars. The complement of the field here. 82 applications for those 55 spots. And look who's right at the front. We'll leave you with the rest of the race analysis as we prepare to start. Think of the enormity of this battle. It's very difficult to replicate Ferrari versus Porsche, but Audi versus Peugeot has become the story of the past few years. As Luca de Montezemolo gets ready to wave the flag to start the race for the 77th time, it is Franck Montagny who takes the lead from Allan McNish as they stretch up the start straight, but the diminutive Scott won't have it. He tries to come back on the inside. The Frenchman leads in the French car to the first turn.
He defends to the inside line. Remember, the tyre temperatures are not up yet. The pressures aren't up. McNish putting the pressure on.
Great start as always. The build-up is incredible. Think of the pride that is on the line for these three Peugeots. Add to it a fourth with Pescarolo, also has a 908. The word on the ground in Le Mans this week, win or lose, Peugeot may very well be done after this race. We will see. Can they conquer Audi and the new R15? Stretching its legs for the first time, and you'll see that fourth 908 there with the green mirrors. There it is.
Can the Peugeots attack Allan McNish? Here we see a car in the pits, one of the P2 machines early on, but McNish, the Peugeots in qualifying, had about 6 miles an hour faster straight line speed than that Audi that runs second.
Surrounded by Peugeots, one Audi in the first 5. Is this representative of the race? Audi proved last year that you don't have to have the fastest car to win this race. Peugeot, on the other hand, admitted they blew it. And they've spent the past 12 months refining their pit stop procedure to get it right.
On board with Mike Rockenfeller. Remember, his debut for Audi ended in tears here a couple of years ago when he crashed the car going into Tête Rouge. Peugeot takes over second spot from Allan McNish.
Pedro Lamy, Alex Wurz, the other two factory drivers. Jean-Christophe Bouillon is in the Pescarolo Peugeot 908. He's like part of the furniture at Pescarolo, and Henri has given him the honor of starting and wants him to take this team to the front. Simon Pagenaud is also in that car, a driver who we know so well from the American Le Mans Series.
And what a season he has had, Lee. 2 wins in the American Le Mans Series. He also won on debut for Peugeot at Spa in the last LMS round.
We ride with Alexandre Premat in the third Audi. In this car, he is sharing it with Romain Dumas and Timo Bernard, who we know so well from both the American Le Mans Series and Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series. A big opportunity for those two guys to drive in the Audi R15. Look at the Peugeot growing impatient with Allan McNish.
Oh boy, these guys, I mean, this is the first lap of a 24-hour race, guys, you know. Whoever crosses that line on the end of this first lap, it doesn't really matter, but still, these guys are really getting theirs. Allan McNish slipping back down through the field now. Another Peugeot hot on his heels as they come out of Tête Rouge, Arlage.
On board here with Alex Wurz, the youngest ever winner at Le Mans. On his debut, 22 years old. He's had a stellar Grand Prix career. Now he's back in sports cars. And remember, so many of these teams have very little track time here this month. There's been no pre-test. Wednesday was effectively rained out. The track got dry to the point about 10 seconds off the pole time. And then they had qualifying, 2 2-hour sessions here on Thursday evening. So setup, still a big question mark.
Tom Christensen said to you earlier, didn't he, in that he thought at the very beginning of the race, the track is green, there'd be a lot of understeer, and you could see some of those cars going wide as they were going through those Porsche curves there, pushing out at the front end. Tyre pressure should be up to pressure now. Most of these tyres will be warm enough now, so we should see a bit of settling down.
So pleasing to see good weather on race day here at Le Mans. Montagny, Pedro Lamy, Allan McNish, then Wurz, Bouillon, Rockenfeller, Stefan Muka. And isn't it wonderful to see the Aston Martins up there? So many British campers and race fans make the annual pilgrimage to Circuit de la Sarthe and they will be thrilled to see it there. Remember, the Astons have 2 consecutive wins in GT1. Can they fight the diesel cars in P1? Montagnier enjoying some clear space up front.
Boy, did he lay down a lap there. 3:29 on his first lap, 2 seconds clear of the rest of the field.
Boy, that's a heck of an opening lap, isn't it? When you consider the pole was a 3:22.
And you have to wonder what the strategy will be with Peugeot. Will they send a rabbit out there and see if Audis will try and chase him down? Will they sacrifice one of the cars here?
This is Alex Wirtz on the inside of Alan McNish. Not to be this time round at the first chicane, at the PlayStation chicane.
Don't want to get your nose whipped off on lap 2.
There has been much talk about the 9 stellar drivers within the Peugeot lineup. Is there too much of a single-seater mentality? Who's trying to go out and set the fastest lap time versus Audi's family, which really underscores teamwork. Wirtz pulls out of the draft of the R15 and makes an easy pass.
Yeah, easily clears him. Just as we saw at Sebring when the R15 was debuted, the 908, the Peugeot, seems to have a lot more straight line speed. As I said, in qualifying it was 6 miles an hour. Some of that is just sheer horsepower. Certainly they run the closed cockpit. How effective is that aerodynamically? And I think also a factor is the fact that the Peugeot has a 6-speed transmission versus the 5. Allows you to get up through those gears a little bit better.
Because we noticed from the onboard pictures last year, the Peugeot is a much more fragile car, a much more jumpy, nervous vehicle. It is a single-seater in disguise, and I think it makes it more difficult to drive, which is why they've got so many Formula One drivers in the team. They're used to driving cars like that. The Audi is a real long-distance car, much more comfortable
car. Premat was really defending there from Darren Turner. He's won twice here in the last couple of years in the GT1 Aston. Really spearheads that assault. Oh, and he's off! He's off on the approach to Indianapolis.
Oh, in the gravel trap. Oh.
And this is a regular in the DTM, but he does have good sports car experience, having won the Le Mans series with Mike Rockenfeller. Now here's the key. This driver has to stay close to the car. If he believes the car is repairable, he has to stay within 10 meters of that car. Otherwise, the cars are immediately disqualified.
Exit this race was in the 3rd hour, not within the first half an hour.
Boy, oh boy. Alexander Premat, of course, viewers who watch our GP2 series will know who he is.
Oh, look at this. Romain Dumas, Timo Bernhard in the back of the garage. These are 2 Porsche factory drivers who have been loaned over to Audi for this attack at Le Mans. Romain on the right, Timo on the left. They just can't believe it. It's all about chemistry, supporting your teammates, but this early and very similar thing happened to the young cars, we called it, 2 years ago when Mike Rockenfeller in damp conditions got caught out on the approach to Tertre Rouge. Justin?
It was amazing. Just before the car went off, I was actually looking at the their time in scoring and the monitor with them, because the two his 2 teammates were standing at the back going ooh and ah about how close he was on the limit, and they were kind of enthusiastically supporting his driving. And then I was watching their eyes as it all went wrong. And I'll give you an interesting thing about the young lineup, the drivers in the number 3 car, is that Bernhard and Dumas were literally watching their teammate and supporting him from the first lap. The other drivers, nothing wrong with that, are back getting prepared mentally and physically for their time in the car. So unfortunately they had a front row seat to what is actually a real disaster for Audi. And Ulrich, and we've all seen it before, his hands went in the air, and it was best not to be anywhere near him at that moment.
The second Peugeot in, the number 8 car, the lead.
So the other Peugeot just take fuel, no tires. There's talk of these guys potentially quadrupling the tires, going 4 stints on the same set of tires. That will effectively save you time in pit lane. Last year, the pit stops to change tires. Remember, the tires can only be changed after the refueling is complete. Took about 12 seconds. This year is up around the low 20s.
Frank Montagnier at the wheel of that car, of course, a very experienced Formula One driver, did a lot of test driving for Renault. And they've got... Oh! Wow!
The Pescarolo Peugeot has hit Pedro Lamy.
Can you believe that?
Oh!
They added a big hit. They talked about adding a 4th Peugeot. We believe it was Bouillon in the Pescarolo car coming into his pit box. There you see it. Contact. What irony there. They're pitted right next to each other so they can share information. They hit each other on the first pit stop.
Watch this.
Oh, boy. There you see the contact. That, of course, is, you have to say it. This is the sort of thing that the team manager and the people in the pit lane are supposed to.
Look at this.
Oh, he's had it.
No.
Oh my! Now this is really serious. This is 8 miles he's got to go now. The chance of that tyre staying together for the next 8 miles is slim to none.
We talked about execution. You have to give the drivers. This Peugeot is so tough to see. We spoke to Mans Peugeot and David Brabham about driving this new 908 for the first time. You can't see out of the side. David Brabham got penalised at Spa on his debut in the car a couple of months ago for taking an LMP2 car right off the racetrack. You just can't see. So the driver in his pit box can't see another car coming in. The team on the radio have to keep you alert to everything that's going on.
The whole reason
disasters in the first 40 minutes here with one of the Audis into the fence, and the chances of Lamy getting around here are very slim. That tyre is almost bound to come right apart.
The whole reason Pescarolo was entrusted, and that's the word they use, entrusted to run a 908, was simply this: to help Peugeot win, to assist Peugeot win, not to take out one of its cars on the first round of pit stop.
Change at the front of the GT2 field. It looks like Pat Long has taken the lead from Jamie Mello in the Ferrari.
Pat Long was the man on the move. For the Porsche teams to beat that Felbermeyer Porsche, that's a huge feather in their cap. Now Porsche is ahead of the lead Ferrari.
Boy, if they're going to drive like that for the next 24 hours, these guys are going to be pretty worn out by the end of the 24 hours if they're going to keep this pace up.
I've also had team members, whether it's crew or drivers, that spoke English, so it seemed like English was the common language. But with this team, an entire French team, so French is the spoken language. Luckily, Pat Long is fluent.
Oh, can you believe what you're seeing here? This is Russian roulette. This is Russian roulette from the officials. And we should see a full course yellow in the name of safety. There's debris strewn all over the racetrack. The Peugeot of Pedro Lamy is self-destructing, and the other cars on the track, like the Aston Martin, is just dodging and weaving all of this debris on the track.
As you said, David, that tyre over the course of 8 miles is just going to shred itself. Now we see Audi making its first pit stop. Is this significant? Is the Audi going further on fuel over the course of these 24 hours? McNish hits pit lane for the first time.
Well, that's where you need just a bit of luck in these long distance races. For that to happen to that tyre as he leaves the pits, it's just impossible.
Chris?
Audi bringing out tires. Now, this is something we saw at Sebring, the team not able to double stint with the R15. They worked really hard Thursday night to try and do doubles, triples, even quadruple stints. But one thing, speaking with Johnny O'Connell earlier, he said even with the running on Friday in the dry, the track is still not rubbered up. So he said it might take a while before you see some of the teams who haven't been able to double stint this year taking some time to get that track rubbered in before they start doubling. We're seeing also this tire change process for the first time during the race from Audi. We can see that one gun out there being swung around the car, coming back over to the right side, doing a rear tire takeoff, then tightening up the front, then tightening up the rear. So all these teams doing a little bit different. Alan McNish all fueled up, fresh tires. He's out of here, guys.
Well, during Thursday night session, the number 1 car did in fact run 4 stints on a set of tires. But they believed at the beginning of this race, we talked about the understeer that Tom Christensen was expecting. Speaking to Lucas Luhr the other day, he said at the beginning of the race we'll probably run a single and then do a triple. What they like to do is to change tires and get in sequence with their driver change, and they expect the drivers to do 4 stints. Last year they were doing double stints on tires, so a double on the tires, quadruple on the drivers. This year is going to be imperative that they manage to get 4 stints out of a set of tires once we get into the rhythm of this race.
They just can't see.
As he's crawling to the lane, let's show you a replay of a little earlier. Look at this official, and you admire their bravery and the fact they want to get the track cleaned up as quickly as possible, but pretty dangerous stuff. Lamy is in the lane now. Peugeot team will go to work, and this is desperation stuff.
Guys, is looking at this car as it goes up on jacks. They'll definitely pull it in. The turbos, the wastegates are down on the side. There's damage there. I can see, obviously, suspension components need to be an issue. The bodywork can be replaced and repaired, but significant damage, not only to the bodywork and suspension, but as I said, the wastegate and the turbos that sit there in the side pod. These were the road race sprinters, as they called them on this team. The 8 car considered the Formula car sprinters, and really the 9 car is the one that they said those are the more seasoned, maybe level-headed drivers that perhaps would bring up the rear but bring home the victory. 3 bullets in the gun, 3 very different driver lineups here at Peugeot this year, and one of them into problems already.
For about 5 minutes right now. Peter Cox has gotten behind the wheel, but the team said it threw an alternator belt. Now, I don't know where all the pulleys are on this car, but they have all the body work off the thing. So I think it's a little bit more than an alternator belt, and they did say they were also possibly having some issues with the air conditioning in the car. Remember, these closed-top cars, you got to have air conditioning and keep the temperature below 32°C. Typically, when the temperature rises above 31°C, that's when the drivers start flipping that AC on. May have been a problem with this Aston Martin. Talking with John Woodward, or Woody, who's one of the team managers down here, he said, we started this program so late this year that serviceability with the car is going to be an issue throughout the race. If we have problems, it's going to take a long time to fix it, and I think we're seeing that right now with the 009.
Back at the restart, and Montagny has bolted, but you've got 2 Audis and 2 Aston Martins in the mix. McNish, Rockenfeller, Stefan Muka and Darren Turner are all going at it for a top 3 position. This is good stuff at the restart.
They've done a lot. If not, replace that whole left rear corner.
The 007 is Stefan Muka, victorious early this year in the LMS, the European Le Mans Series over there. And that Pro Drive Lola Aston Martin performing beautifully so far, being able to hold off Marc Genet. Let's talk GT2 for a moment. Let's talk a rookie, an American rookie at Le Mans, and he's sure proud to be there.
Well, Joe Foster standing by watching Patrick Dempsey in the car right now. We talk about Patrick a lot, Joe, I know, and you kind of get left behind. You're really one of the stars of the Rolex Series back home, and from one old racer to a guy who's still doing it, I know what it's like to have a dream and live it, because I can remember the tears in my eyes. Starting Indianapolis, I said it was from the fumes. Tell me how many tears were in your eyes at the drop of the green here at Le Mans.
Oh, wow, what an experience. Just the whole week of anticipation, pomp and circumstance the event has. It was just fantastic to kind of get it all going. I know Patrick and Don have had a lot of anticipation as well. Certainly my build-up has been 25 years worth, not just the week, and so it meant the world to me. We do have a fantastic Rolex program with Mazda, which is going really, really well, but still what an opportunity for myself and Patrick to benefit the Team Seattle program, the Seattle Children's Hospital in this way, and bring some of our partners as well along and to share the experience with us. It's just fantastic.
It's great to see you guys here, and behind you, you see the numbers that they're racking up for Seattle Children's Hospital right now. Already over $16,000 since this program started back in 1997, guys. Over $3.2 million have been raised. It's all gone to the kids at the hospital.
Yes, and we talk about Patrick Dempsey and Joe Foster. Let's not forget the man from Seattle himself, Don Kitch Jr. Don's first time at Le Mans as well. Number 7 Peugeot back out once again.
2 tire changers, 1 gun, and you'll notice that's why the car is so close to the white line, so the right side tire guys can get it done. Peugeot is down, and Montagny is away.
Now, it'll be interesting to see later on tonight when the racetrack gets rubbered up a lot more, when these guys start double, triple, or maybe quadrupling the tires because of that 1 gun over the wall rule. And you saw the Audi guys are also ready for their guide.
So the 3 is serviced and sent. Brian?
Guys, the thing I found interesting, I believe the 8 car was in on at the end of lap 9, call it 10 laps in the books. This time it was the end of 24-25. You look at that, 24 minus 11, that's 13 already. So these guys getting good mileage for the heat of the day. And don't forget, they've got 30 extra kilos that they're pulling, and they've got more drag on that car because of the aerodynamic changes. So pretty impressive mileage for the Peugeot early on.
Is it that aerodynamic change on the front of the car that's assisting them? Is it working well?
Well, that's helping their downforce up there. And of course, you heard Brian talking about the gurney, which is the 90-degree flap at the back of the wing, increasing both downforce but also drag, which will take away from your fuel mileage.
And this is the 3, this is the 8, the race leading car trying to get by the 3rd Audi. Meanwhile, McNish is in.
This car, lots of damage. Well, both the 1 and the 2 are in pit lane down here. Alan McNish, we're looking at the front of the Audi here. Lots of damage to the nose of the car. Now this, we can probably, hopefully the viewers at home can also see the hole behind the damage. That's that chimney that Peugeot had protested. They didn't like the chimney, and then they didn't like these little winglets in the airbox area. But pretty much the ACO said, hey, we've been part of the design process of this car. There's been great communication with Audi. This is the car that we expected to show up at scrutineering, so therefore the car is legal. Real quick change on the nose on the Audi. Didn't look like tires, so most of these teams right now double stinting tires. I checked in with Corvette. Typically we don't see that team double stinting, and they're running a harder compound tire, and we'll go down there because we're expecting them to come in the next couple laps.
This is the lead car. Sebastian Bourdais brought the number 8 Peugeot into the garage. Now, is this going to be a major problem? I mean, we've been talking tonight about, Peugeot have got the pace, but have they got the reliability? And again, and John, it takes, we're told by previous winners, it takes 3 years with a program to win this race. And
yeah, I think
this is the 3rd year.
Indeed, I think Le Mans is probably one of the biggest engineering challenges we face. To get a car and engine to complete 24 hours at Le Mans, it's a big challenge.
Now, apparently, I'm hearing this is only 3 laps into his stint, only 3 laps since his last stop. Ooh. So this is not going to be good for Peugeot. In saying that, they don't look particularly panicked. They do seem to know. It looks as if they know what the problem is, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but at the same time, the car is in the garage. This is a really hot race right now. They will not be able to afford to have this happen.
No, this is going to fall into Audi's hands again if they're not careful. Alex Wirtz is going to have to pick up the baton, isn't he? Depending how long they're in there. There is Seabass sitting in the car, distinctive helmet, the multiple car champion. This is not what he wanted. He's from Le Mans. It's his home track. He's racing in front of his home crowd. He does not want to be sitting in the garage.
No, absolutely not. So this is a huge blow for Peugeot. We're just going to have to wait and see when they get back on the track.
Sebastian Bourdais still in the garage, slipping down the order. Capello and Luhr and the Audis move into 2nd and 3rd. Anthony Davidson's about to move up into 4th place. He's only just a couple of seconds behind. And Benoit Treluyer. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we've got someone here from the Oreca Courage team, Nicolas Lapierre, and we'll have a quick. So after the break, come back with us. Still stay on Eurosport 2. Mark Cole, Liz Halliday, and Nicolas Lapierre.
Well, Bourdais a few moments or 2 ago, showing just how close you have to cut things. Diving through on Anthony Davidson, and that was 4th and 5th positions. Bourdais moving up into 4th place. His 2nd sector, which is down the Mulsanne straight basically to Mulsanne corner, that was the fastest anybody has done in the entire race. And you can see as Anthony Davidson comes around the corner, the Peugeot is already heading onwards and upwards, checking out and leaving the Lola Aston behind, Jeremy.
And that was a 3 minutes 26.9 the previous lap by Sebastian Bourdais. So he's certainly got the hammer down now to make up for that apparent error by him earlier on. We don't know whether it was an error.
Collins Audi. That is, I think, either the 14 or 15 car, surely.
No, is it?
Or is it an R15? It's car number 2. That is Lucas Luhr.
3rd place car.
My Rockefeller had dramas a couple of years ago, and now Lucas Luhr. That is the entrance to the Porsche curves, I think. I think that's where you turn off the normal public road. Just as you flick right, Jamie Davis will be able to tell me if it is or it isn't now then.
Game over.
Safety car, surely. We must see a safety car.
Absolutely, but look at this on board. The car is all over the place. It's a puncture. It is not driver error.
Puncture, isn't it? Definitely, Martin.
It's bouncing up and down. That is,
something's broken off, gone flat at the left rear corner. Dr. Ulrich, you can see.
Well, hang on a minute. Step forward, anybody who still wants to win this race, because Lady Luck is really playing fast and loose with everybody here. But we have seen cars, think of Alan McNish's crash there, we have seen cars much worse damage than that make it back to the Audi pits and into the race. But it's unlikely now to finish on the podium. So we now have 1 Peugeot, 1 Audi, healthy, racing at the front of the field.
Well, yeah, but then not far behind them is the 2nd of the Peugeot, Sebastian Bourdais. Only 1 lap down to the leaders, turning a series of very fast laps. And then still not far behind him, of course, is Anthony Davidson in that Lola Aston Martin.
Now let's take a look at that Audi. Don't forget, as he started to turn into a right-hander, the car was sitting down and bouncing around. That suggests to me left-hand rear problem. he's clearly obviously now got a right-hand rear problem as well, so actually he may have no driving wheels left. We might be seeing that car being towed into retirement. Lucas is not going to get out patently until he knows there is absolutely nothing he can do. He will get out and have a look around and see what remains of that left rear. If it's still attached and it was only maybe a puncture, there might be a chance if they drag him onto some hard standing. But if they drag him onto some gravel, look, there's a bit of tarmac. That's all he needs. Get me on that tarmac. Let me select first gear. Turn me around. Let me go.
Also, you'd be lucky if you could drive that car.
But also, where they are on the circuit relative to the pit lane, it couldn't be better for them, really. They're relatively close to it now. Good point. Will it drive for starters?
Yeah.
And even if it does drive, is it going to be, in a situation where the marshals will allow the car to rejoin?
I tell you what, if he gets it fired up, they won't have any chance of stopping him.
He certainly had a huge wobble on there from that onboard camera. I would say it's most likely that something broke at the back of that car. There is Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich. You can see there.
Can't believe it.
Shake of the head. No, he can't.
And you know what? Down at Peugeot, they won't be able to believe it as well, because if that can happen to them, that can happen to us. And that's the problem, you see. We've still got 18 hours left. We've not even started to crack this thing at all. Left side looks okay.
Look at the intricacies of the bodywork there on the
What's the left wheel
car
doing? It is now turning at least, so it's not jammed solid, which it looked like it might have been before. Now he's found neutral. Has he got any power?
I'll be impressed if he's got any drive to that wheel.
We can see back in the Audi garage, and his engineers are saying, we're trying to work it out, and we're trying to work out whether it's done or whether you can get out.
Yeah. What does the telemetry tell you? What's it saying on the dashboard? Flick through the pages. That could just be a bit of bodywork dragging on the back. A gearbox wouldn't still be attached by a few wires.
There's smoke there.
That's a cracked gearbox case, and that is smoke coming out of the gearbox, as in oil smoke. That's what that looks like.
I don't know. That could just be the radiators blowing out through the overflow. So I'm not entirely certain.
It could just be. Let's not forget, it is a diesel. There's lots of strange smokes coming out the back of it.
Could be anything, but one thing is for sure, they will not give up until the coffin lid goes on it. Right, so we're going to get down and have a quick word with Timo Bernhard, find out exactly what's the case with Audi number 3, and then we'll try and run down some of how the other British cars are going. We're not broadcasting exclusively to the UK, as you probably understand, but we will try and run down some of the classes and pick up, well, Fiona particularly wants to know how Team Straka are doing. We will have a... Oh, so Jeremy, let's get a little list of things while we wait for Timo Bernhard. So let's run down the order. Well, as far as British content is concerned, of course, Audi number 1, Alan McNish, Tom Christensen driving it, that is still in second place. Aston Martins, 4th and 6th, 008 with Anthony Davidson up, 007 in 6th place with Jean Charus. And let's get down to the pit lane and catch up with Timo Bernhard. Of course, the Audi number 3 has been, as you see, the mist hanging in the trees, mist smoke, barbecue smoke there as well. Audi number 3 has lost the better part.
Davidson in 008, Lola Aston Martin to third place, and there is Lucas Luhr finally out of that number 2 Audi. So that car officially now is out of the race.
Do you know what? That marshal is a braver man than me.
Yeah.
I think basically Lucas has been prevented from trying to rejoin the track by the marshals. And obviously, eventually, in the end, Dr. Ulrich or Reinhold Jost or Ralf Juttner very probably has said, OK, if they really aren't going to let you, then there's nothing we can do about it.
And there's a fundamental difference between the rules in Europe and the rules in North America, where in North America, and I'm not trying to say anything's better than the other, but in North America, the organisers fall over themselves, perhaps arguably unfairly to some other people, who knows, to keep the cars in the race. Yeah. Why do they do that? Well, it's not to please the teams, it's to please the fans. The fans came to see the cars and the drivers in the race, not out of the race.
We've got 250,000 fans here, and we've got 100 million fans watching around the world on TV, and we have lost one of our potential front runners, and with it, just a little bit of the spice and the drama. Peugeot lead, Audi close, a minute and a half between first and second.
About 2 laps behind the leader, which is Marc Genet in the number 9 car.
Closing in on 8 hours down in this race, and they've actually gone through all 3 drivers now. So Bouillon now back behind the wheel. He started the race. Simon Pagenaud had a run, and also Treluyer. So A lot of these teams will try and extend the amount of time that they run the drives. There's a maximum you can run any 4 hours within a 6-hour period, so 4 hours straight effectively. And what that does, David, it gives you a little bit more rest time. If you can get the guys to do a quadruple stint, that means you're out of the car for like 8 stints, so you can actually get some rest.
You can get some serious rest, there's no doubt about it. Obviously at the track it's kind of difficult to rest because apart from anything else you're listening for your car all the time. You can hear them droning on, but at least it gives you a long time, a much better time to relax.
Very distinguished team. Down to the Audi pits, Brian Till.
Tom Christensen just brought the 1 car in, and this is not what you want to see. The stands have come out. They'll spin him around, back him into the garage. Now, remember, all 3 cars have been in the garage. We saw the problems for the 2. It will not return. The 3 had a fuel pressure problem, so they had to pull the engine out, work on the fuel pressure system, and get it back in. And so when you saw Romain Dumas go out and in, that was basically an installation lap because the entire engine had been out. But I don't know what the problem here is. You see the engine cover coming off, and the crew will go to work right now to try to get this taken care of. But whatever the stop is, it will be a lengthy one. Anytime you got to go into the garage, there's going to be a lengthy stop here.
The grill system inside those radiator ducts has been changed for Le Mans, so they certainly learned things at Sebring, but it looks like there's a quick fix. They must have seen those numbers on the telemetry start to approach the danger zone, and better to spend a minute or so right now effecting a quick repair, cleaning everything out, than have problems later.
Yeah, absolutely. The radiator matrix is pretty fine on these cars, and of course a lot of rubber tears off these tires and gets rolled up, and of course it gets thrown into the front of the car and could easily block those radiators.
And keep in mind, while this is the latest iteration of Audi's technology that has won this race basically every year since 2000, their arch rivals at the other end of the pit lane from Peugeot are using 3 years worth of technology on basically the same car.
Brian, there is something significant going on up the other end, up the top end of pit lane. What is going on with the #1 Audi? McNish is out, Capello is climbing aboard, but they've pushed it back in the box.
And they've got the rear engine cover completely off of the car. They did that immediately, so there is a problem at the back. Driver change is just part of the deal, but there's trouble at the back of this Audi.
It's probably a precautionary stop, I think, you know, with more of that muck and rubble in there maybe they're trying to get rid of. I don't know.
Working on that right rear corner, it looks like anyway. There's a couple mechanics over there.
Because they have a lot of data streaming on these cars. They know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, they're a bit too hurried just to be looking for bits of rubber and things. I think there's definitely a problem that they're trying to deal with here.
This is major. This is major. This car was within 1 lap of the race lead. 1 minute behind it was the second Peugeot of Stefan Sarrazin. Sarrazin will move ahead into second now. How long will this stop be? What is it for? Is it for overheating problems again? We heard about the rads, the intercooler being flushed out before, being cleaned out with a high-pressure hose.
Well,
what's the story now?
Putting it all back together again, so it looks like they're all off again. That was a pretty quick stop.
Yeah.
The big advantage of putting it back in the box is, although it looks a bit panic-stricken, of course the fact is you could just descend a whole army on it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, instead of 2 guys working on it, you can all hands on deck, so to speak.
Dindo Capello sent.
You saw it spewing some water out of the back.
Out of the breather.
And there it's still doing it. That's water. That's water.
That's not good.
And that's coming out the overflow tube. And that's not good. Have to assume we've got a pretty hot car.
Perhaps they just put a lot more water in it.
Welcome back to Le Mans, and the drama continues to unfold in the darkness, and this must be somewhere like the chicane on the Mulsanne. We are looking at the number 17 Pescarolo. The lights are off, the body is off, the suspension is off. Safety cars are on the track, as you can clearly see. We have not been notified on the timing screens that the safety car has been scrambled. Now we have, but it's already out. You can see the safety car boards and yellow flags. The yellow lights will be on. Graham Goodwin with us here, Martin Haven, Neville Hay, and Graham Goodwin from dailysportscar.com. And Graham, an enormous accident. The engine is still just about attached to the tub, but it is one of those car to component part reducing crashes, and the immediate worry is that neither of the doors are open yet on the car.
The door is just opened, in fact. The only reason we can tell what that car is, and we believe it is the 17 Pescarolo Peugeot, is because of the green flash on the nose. Of course, this car car's only just left the pits.
Yes.
After that stop, we think, to renew fluids and actually clear out some of the muck in the various vents. But an enormous crash. None of the wheels attached to the car. The full tub, though, is intact. And the survival cell, if you like, on the coupe is attached. Both doors now open. Can see, I believe, driver moving inside the car.
You can see the glint of something moving inside. There is a marshal down there with him, and
very sensibly, no attempt being made to actually get driver out of the car until we get the intervention vehicles there.
Proper extraction vehicle and an ambulance on the way. And so now everybody on the racetrack. You can see 2 cars coming up behind, and the Dunlop car as well in the GT class, GT2 class. Well, you know, they will know that there is something very serious awry, because you do not have ambulances, fire engines, or exactly as the same as when you pass them on the motorway. You do not have them on a racetrack. Now, back into the garage goes Audi number 1. Dindo Capello has completed 1 stint in this car, and this now, with the safety car out, would seem to be a chance perhaps then to do a bit more clearing out. And looks like they're changing a Motec unit. That would be the digital unit that controls all the car's functions. Not necessarily because he's got a major problem. It might just be something like the screen readouts aren't there. I mean, there are something like a dozen different buttons on the car for adjusting traction control ratios and all the other things, as well as the paddle shift just on the steering wheel alone. And that was looking like motor racing was in those days. You can see that the rescue crew have got the screen up there to screen the driver off from the crowd rather than from the TV cameras. You can see they're ready with the sort of bracing equipment on the right hand side there with the stretcher. That'll have inflated packs around it to try and make sure that when they do extract Benoit Treluyer, there can be nothing that is going to make any injury worse.
Just to immobilise it. It's got shades, it has to be said, of 1999, 10 years ago, at their first turn here, with an accident for Thierry Boutsen in the Toyota GT1, clipped another car coming into the turn. Very violent accident, but the good news there, I mean, anybody that saw that crash, and I did, would barely believe that someone could actually step away from that car, but Thierry did. Thierry was back here just a few years later, actually managing a team that went on to great success with Champion Racing. But yeah, I think the guys are just taking it very, very easy. Get him out the car. All the help he needs is actually there. And, well, fingers crossed.
Absolutely. And I'm sure is Benoit Treluyer on the stretcher, being prepared now to go into the ambulance and to go to the medical centre here. And of course, here at Le Mans, like most other race circuits, very well prepared for an awful lot of eventualities. And unlike some race circuits, of course, Graham Goodwin, we are right on the fringes of a major city, one of France's biggest cities. And so, in fact, the reason the race is here, it was France's second city and second industrial city 100 years ago. So he is in about as good a place as you can be at the moment after that accident. Now, we have heard from our French colleagues. They have heard from Pescarolo that Benoit Treluyer has no major injuries. Obviously, he has taken one heck of a flight somewhere. His bell well and truly rung. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if he was at least briefly unconscious, although we did hear before he was being extracted from the car that he was conscious and was able to talk. So we also hear now, unofficially, must stress this, although certainly the body language of our race director did suggest that there was little serious to worry about. We are hearing that he has no major injuries, so hopefully no broken bones.
Welcome back live to Le Mans, 77th running here on Speed. I'm Bob Varsha with Dorsey Schrader and Calvin Fish. Chris Neville and Justin Bell down in the pit lane. We're taking you all the way to the checkered flag and beyond here at Les South. The race leader is Marc Genet, 251 laps complete in the Peugeot. He has a 1-lap lead over his teammate Frank Montagny. Tom Christensen, 2 laps behind the race leader and going very, very quickly. But fastest of all, Nick Manassian, just a short while ago, turned a lap at 3:24.512.
Race with Jan Lammers a few years ago, but Just done a great job here. We had a chance to sit down with the team during scrutineering this week, and said it's been a difficult start to the year, but we feel we've turned the corner. Oh, massive impact. One of the Astons, it looks like. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy,
That's huge. And they've had some problems in their testing.
Is that the 007?
If that is the 007, that is the 4th place car in this race, Jan Charouz.
Wow. That is a big hit.
Is that the entrance to the Porsche curves, Dave?
Understandably.
From that strange camera angle. No.
It is. I think it is.
Understandably, the team concerned. This is a huge impact and another safety car intervention. And rightly so.
Well, now we see the car being drug. We'd have to assume the driver has been.
It's the 009. It's not Jan Charouz at all. It is the 009. And that is Harold Premat behind the wheel. This is the car that has spent an incredible amount of time in the Aston Martin ProDrive pit box. A very troublesome race in 2009 for the 009. 4:35. He is not too far off qualifying time.
He's got to be so frustrated. It's a case of what might have been. And
now that's what they call extreme tire warming.
That's Christian Baccarud. What has happened? What has happened?
I'll tell you what can happen here. You can get the brakes too cool. Let's see what happens here. Oh, no.
Oh. I think he just gave it a bit of welly there to try and put some heat in the rear tyres and got it all wrong. Now that is what you call a mistake. And so it's going to be interesting. Oh, there's the 3-car. Oh.
Dumas. I believe he was in there unless they did a change during this caution. Yeah, it is Dumas.
Now, was that down at Indy? Where is that?
That's where his teammate Premat had the problem, because of Sarnage we're looking down at.
Oh dear, this time it. How extraordinary.
What has happened to Romain?
There we see no other cars in the picture, so
just locked it.
Here he comes. On board replay. Yeah, similar scenario, David, to Alex in the early laps of the race. However, he cocked it sideways the other way.
Stop. Oh, too late in the gravel.
Again, right at apex, the car took a little bobble there and he lost control. Aero is so important. And that was a great shot of watching these LMP1 cars really flow through the entry to that Porsche curve section. And that's where Lucas Luhr lost it. And we haven't really seen that camera angle very much during the course of the race. And there is a little bit of a bobble there. The car really wiggles around there and gets light on the entry there, which may have caught Lucas out.
Well, that's where the 009 car went off too. So
this is the 8 about to put a lap, attempting to put a lap on Alan McNish and really create a larger divide and give the total Peugeot Audi team more insurance and more room to breathe easy.
Again, you just want that cushion, and if they can get 2 of their cars 2 laps up on the Audi, that changes the face of the race also.
Welcome back to Le Mans. This is Alan McNish in the #1 Audi in the pit lane. And it wasn't that many laps ago that he pitted previously, so this is unscheduled. And it looks like it's going back into the garage for another freshening up.
Yeah, just 3 laps ago he was in, Bob, for fuel and tires, so this is certainly unscheduled, but they've been looking at those numbers and realizing they can't push it any further. We would have to assume it's just a continuation of the issues they've had. Justin is down there.
Marc Genet in the race leading Peugeot. 338 laps complete, a 1-lap lead over local favorite Sebastian Bourdais in the second Peugeot, and then the first of the Audis. In fact, the surviving Audi in the hands of Dindo Capello, now 7 laps down to the race leader. It appears that Audi's long stranglehold on the 24 hours of Le Mans will be released today.
Lola Aston Martins. They came with 3. It's been a very tough experience for 2 of the 3. But the AMR, the Aston Martin Racing Eastern Europe car of Jan Charus, Stefan Muka and Thomas Enger has performed very nicely indeed. They're 4th overall in this 007 machine. They're some 8 laps behind the overall leader, Marc Genet. But first time out, you can see pro-drive and Aston Martin boys doing exactly what they did in GT1 when they came here with the 550 Maranello Ferraris. Spent the first year or two learning, and then bang, they won.
Right now, they're a lap and a half behind the lead Audi that sits in 3rd spot. Christensen has clicked the line at 355 laps. These guys are at 353 and a half, essentially, as he heads out of Mulsanne and down to Indianapolis.
Doing about the same lap times. The gasoline-powered car in the Aston Martin, just not really a match for the big turbo diesels around here.
Very, very alarming scene here at Circuit de la Sarthe for the 2004 overall winner, Sei Ara, in the Navi Team Go Porsche LMP2 car. Perhaps brake failure. He has just gone straight on at the first chicane, the PlayStation chicane. Here's the replay. Not brake failure at all.
Just turned into the braking zone, just turned hard left, and then just clobbers those tire barriers and just tears the car apart, as you can see.
Boy, did he just lose it on braking, or did something break?
I would have to think something broke.
It's so abrupt, isn't it? Ugh.
First look at it is probably more dramatic than when you see it happen in slow-mo, where it just kind of peeled the bodywork slowly off.
The first impact was the worst, where it hit the guardrail on the turn-in. The others going through those tyre barriers, of course, are great.
Well, we've waited a long, long time to get the answer to the question. Can Audi be beaten? The answer is yes. It was a single focus for Peugeot. It wasn't about winning the Le Mans series. It wasn't about winning Sebring or coming to do Petit Le Mans or anything like that. It was one single goal, and it was to win this event.
Now this is where the dance card gets very tricky. You want to be very careful in these contrived finishes that you don't all end up in a ball of fiberglass and rubber dust. You will just
don't say it.
Jig when you should be jogging.
How many times down through the years have we seen this scene coming off these very corners, welcoming home a new champion in a Bentley or a Ford GT40 or a Jaguar? You name it.
It doesn't seem 5 minutes ago since I was doing this last lap with the Fitzpatrick car when we came 3rd. And same sort of thing, exact same sort of day too. Hot, sunny day, huge crowd.
The French have a gift for this sort of thing, like the Tour de France ending on the Champs-Élysées in Paris.
Now those guys behind are going to pick up speed here because they want to make sure they get in the back of the photograph as they cross the line.
And you have to give the team credit. Often they've been accused of manipulating things. If they wanted to manipulate it, they would have put the 8 car out in front with the all-French driver lineup. They did not do that. From very early on, as Frank Montagny told us, this has already been set. The 9 will drive to the checkered flag.
Team director Olivier Canel said the team invested enormous effort and dedication in the off-season, and they had one goal, and that was to win Le Mans. He said, we need no more reminders. They knew the task ahead.
16 years, the wait. For some, that would feel like a lifetime. And what a special scene this is. Not only if you're French, but for sports car fans. And spare a thought for the Brabham family and Sir Jack Brabham. He's not in well health. He's not in good health. And his 2 sons have won this French classic. For Wirtz, it's his second. For Genet, it's his first. And he will get to see the checkered flag. The lion has roared here in France. Peugeot win at home. The French classic is theirs, finally, after 16 years.